here at the Hypershift Racing League. Sorry about that. The internet decided that it wanted to not cooperate with us there for some unknown reason for the last 10-15 minutes, but it is back. We are back, and we are seeing these drivers out there on the racetrack as we see them battling here at the start of our Hypershift 213SimWear 250 here this afternoon. The racing action is here. The battles are about to happen. Everyone getting ready to battle here. Lap after lap after lap. We apologize about the internet failure there real quick. Hopefully we get everyone back in here. Hopefully we get everyone into the stream here. We make sure I copy and paste all of the links for you guys so that way we can, bam, there we go. And we get things, there we go. We're good. We're good. Alrighty, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are seeing these guys out there on the racetrack. As right now, it's Adam Belton leading the way here early on in our beautiful 213SimWear 250 with the Hypershift Racing League as the first race here of the point season, the first points race of the year underway here, and it's, you know, it's our Daytona 500, the first race, the first points opportunity, the first time that you can try to pick up a win that's gonna matter in using those points and potentially win into our playoffs here with the Hypershift Racing League. As Chronic Pond says, there's my boy, let's go baby, let's go. Stephanie says, let's go Gage. Tyler says, let's go Wenzel out there on the racetrack. Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize. Yeah, internet decided to bottom out there. I don't even know what we got, 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in, all of a sudden my internet just went, nope. Never mind, you don't get to have fun this afternoon. I was stressing there for a hot minute, man. I was freaking out. I was calling around. I was resetting my router a couple times. I was trying everything because the first couple times didn't want to work, and then I just kind of sat there in limbo for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I was starting to lose my cool for a hot minute right there. I was really starting to lose my mind as I don't want to have internet issues. I don't want to have those problems, and I'm glad that everything seems to be good. Everything looks clean and clear right now as we do see our first caution flag out there on the racetrack. Couple drivers tied together, one of those being our race leader, Adam Belton running into problems here. Let's play this back and take another look at it as the 94 line nice and easy down the back straightaway, but it's the outside lane that all of a sudden gets tied together. I do believe that is the 36. Who's that car to the outside here? We're trying to take a look here at him, and it's not really giving me a huge update. Who's the driver to the outside right there? Oh, no, it's not really giving me a good look. I do believe it's the 36, right? Is it not the 36? I could be wrong here. The yellow car right there is going to make some contact. That is that 36 machine, which I do believe is Wenzel. I could be wrong. Before I say anything, I want to make sure. I don't see a single 36 on the scoreboard. There it is, Gage Wenzel. So it was Gage Wenzel right there. So Wenzel unfortunately gets a big shove from behind here. The 51 ride giving him a shove. Zach Wilson all over his back bumper, and as they come nice and easy out of corner number 2 right here, they seem to be in perfect line. They seem to be working well together. And all of a sudden, just things got a little out of shape. Looks like the 51 gets a little loose, shoots down the racetrack, just gives a bad nudge there to that 36 ride. Sends Wenzel down the racetrack right through that Amazon number 94 ride. And that sends unfortunate break here for our early race leader, Adam Belton, down the racetrack. And he ends up making some pretty good contact here with that inside fence. He gets checked up. Oh, he does get checked up. Maybe just a little bit of contact right there. Doesn't look like too much, but that right-hand side definitely going to have some damage there for the 94. So a tough break there for Belton. Tough break for Wenzel early on in this race as everyone's going to head down pit side. Everybody wants to get some service here, whether it be tires or just some fuel or just a little bit of adjustments, trying to make sure that their cars are ready to rock and roll. As you did see the 51. He unfortunately went a little too far there in his pit stall, had to back it up right there. That's going to lose him a lot of spots as he came down as our race leader. Looks like he will come out of the pits in about the 6th position as Jaden Newson now out in front with Justin Hendry. They're in position number 2. Jack Simpson, Christopher James back there in 4th, and then we see the number 5 of Al Likens. Likens will be back in position number 5 here on the racetrack. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I welcome each and every one of you guys in here as we'll go through the rest of our order here, the rest of our starting grid, as we missed that earlier on with the internet connection issues. But now that we got things back up and running, things are running smooth. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as we're going to get ready to go back to battle here in just a couple more moments. The fun is just about to get started here this afternoon, and we got a lot of racing left here, chat. We got a lot of racing, a lot of back and forth, a lot of ups and downs for these drivers throughout the evening. As we look right here behind them, that car that made the contact, that started that first caution flag, the 51 of Zach Wilson, rolls there in that 6th position. Kent Mueller back there behind him in the DHL Express number 8 ride. The 63, that is Max Cost, as Cost starts back there in the 8th spot. He's got the 57 ride. That is Brian Fine in the Fine ride. They're in position number 9 on the racetrack. There behind him in the 84, that is Jonathan Cogswell. Then we see Dylan Picklesimmer back there in 11th with Tommy Pulte back there in 12th. See Robert Tester in the 22, beautiful looking 22 ride out there, mirror image of Joey Logano's Daytona 500 ride. You can see that out there on the racetrack. So we do see Corey Dink out there as well. Denk out there. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Corey Denk in the 17 ride out there on the racetrack. We also see Drew King in the 34, the number 1. That is Michael Sheffield. We see the 4 ride. That is Daryl Johnson. There in the 19 machine, that is Ryan Chronister there in the 16 spot with Chris Zofeld there in position number 17. Gage Wenzel, who we saw get tied together there and be a part of that first caution flag, sits back in the 18th position as the 7 of Chase Abel right down to his inside. Brad Fulham back there in position number 21 in the 21 ride. Also has the 12 ride, the lightsaber machine of Gavin Grubbs there to his outside. Timothy Watson, James Hudson, Scott Shive, Aaron Spear, Kent Mueller, Jaden Newson, Joshua Siegfried, Anthony Ludi back here bringing up the rear of the field with, we see the 18 of Michael Carter, the 94 of Adam Belton trying to catch up the rear of the field here as the number 94 goes from the front of the field all the way to the back of the pack here, but he's trying to get that Amazon Prime number 94 rolling back up to the back end of the field, getting ready for this restart as our first restart here of the afternoon for the 213 SimWear 250 here this afternoon from Daytona International Speedway. These drivers ready to go to battle. They are ready to duke it out here for a lot of laps here this evening, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of bumps and bruises for some of these drivers out there on the racetrack. And they got to make sure that they got a car for late in this race. You don't want to run into too many issues. You don't want to run into problems. You want to avoid being tied up in what could be the big one out there on the speedway. As the 54 of Justin Hendry gets a great restart there quickly as the 88 of Christopher James right on his back bumper as Chris James rolls there onto his back end. Here comes that Premier Racing setups number 24 of Jack Simpson. Simpson with a great run there to the outside lane, nose to tail. A big shove down the backstretch by Al Likens as Likens trying to get that PRS setups ride to the front of the field. And they're going to quickly slide down in front of that 54 of Justin Hendry. Hendry now going to have to see if he can try to figure out a way to either get around these guys or see if he wants to just sit in line here. Maybe play it a little bit more, safe out there on the speedway. Try to keep yourself out of trouble. Try to keep that nose clean as he does get the door open. Actually blocks the 9 right of Al Likens from going all the way down right there. Just looked like the 9 could not hug that yellow line down through the tri-oval, and 54 is able to shove his nose in there. Made Al have to go either down the middle or slide up in front of that outside lane at max cost. Luckily enough, able to recognize that, get onto the binders, and let that 9 right in front of them right there, else that could have been a big pile up as these drivers continue to battle all around the racetrack. We're going to see drivers moving from the front to the back and forth throughout this race. You do see the second half of this field, they're starting to run a little bit more single file. Now, that is not really, you know, by accident. That's going to by design. A lot of these drivers a little deeper in the field. You look back at Scott Shive. Shive there in the podium at number 81, right back in 22nd. The Lifesavers, you know, the 12 ride, the Menards machine of Gavin Grubbs. You see James Hudson back there, Aaron Spear. So many of these drivers that are deeper in the field, including Anthony Ludi and Adam Belton, who was our early race leader, just kind of rolling single file back here. It's a part of the strategy. Keep yourself clean and green. You keep yourself in that draft and not really run into issues, and you can put yourself into a pretty good position. If there is a big wreck closer towards the front of the field, most of the time you can get onto the binders, you can kind of get down or out of the way, or see a lane that you can choose to be able to get through the big one here and not get tied up in early race incidences. Now this is just a playing it safe kind of style back here, just cruising at the back of the pack and hoping that you can avoid any wrecks in front of you and have a car left for late in this race. We did see Jaden Newson. Newson ended up coming down pit road here during the green flag conditions. Now, I'm not sure exactly what happened to the 40 ride, but Jaden came down all by himself here. He was down there for quite a while. Now rolls back out onto the racetrack, and I believe he's going to be at least one, maybe potentially 2 laps down here. No drafting help as well for that 40 ride, and not the way he wanted his afternoon to start, as Jaden down pit road for an extended period of time, and now in a pretty bad spot. He's going to have to hope for a couple quick caution flags, hoping to try to get himself back onto the lead lap here in a quick hurry. Is Hypershift Racing League coming in not only with the like on the broadcast, but also coming in with that share here this afternoon. Coming in, drop that share on the broadcast as well, showing the love here in this one. As once again, we do apologize for missing the start of this race, as my internet literally crashed. We gave ourselves an ample amount of time to kind of go through the lineup, get everything kind of done, and talk about the race before we went green flag racing and give you guys a great call to the first green flag of the season. My internet decided it had different ideas. It did not want to cooperate, decided that, you know what, that was a great time to all of a sudden just want to disconnect and mess everything up for us. So we do appreciate that. As Corey Denk, hopefully I'm saying, you said nailed it, but I don't know if I nailed it with Denik, something like that, somewhere in there. It's a tough one, Corey. It's a tough one right there, brother. I would have to probably hear it to really know it. As out in front, it's Al Likens, as that front area is starting to get a little single file here as well. I think a lot of these drivers are, either tuning in or kind of listening, or they're, talking to their teammates, and they're seeing how this race is kind of going, and already seeing one early caution flag is going to have a lot of these cats kind of sitting back a little bit on their tippy toes, knowing that any moment in time something big could happen out there on the racetrack and your night could come to a close in a quick hurry. These guys know that there's a 20x DQ limit, so if you get tied up in too many incidences or you hit too many drivers or anything else, you will be disqualified from the race. And there's also 0 quick repairs. 0 quick repairs. So that means you get tied up in one big wreck, you go head on into that outside fence here at 180, 190 miles an hour, your night is going to be over. It's 4 letters, brah. It's 4 letters, but it's a tough 4 letters. Listen, I'm like an hour away from Quebec, so I got a lot of French in me as well. So that a lot of that French, every single letter and word is pronunciated completely differently, and all depends on where people live. They pronunciate stuff a lot different than they do up here in Canada, or not even just in Ontario where we speak mainly English, but also right there in Quebec as well. As not like I speak a lot of parlez-vous français or anything else. I don't speak a lot of français, but it's in there, and I do got a lot of French leagues, so we definitely always try to bite our tongue when we come to names that we don't quite know. As Likens out in front, Likens leading the way here in this one. As that's my boy, let's go Corey, says John D. John D cheered on Corey out there on the speedway. Is Corey having a great run out there? Everyone trying to figure out where they need to be, maybe trying to find some dancing partners, see if they can find their teammates and get lined up out there on the speedway. As we do see this second line trying to get something brewing here, a little deeper in the field, so they kind of left that bottom lane. Now trying the outside groove, the 85 ride. Unfortunately, going to be left down there all by himself. And Joshua Siegfried sliding a little farther back in the field. You'll see the 21 ride right there. That's Brad Fulham. Fulham, unfortunately, looks like he's got some pretty good right front damage on this 21 rider. I couldn't see the logos on that car, but it looks like Fulham has gotten up into the outside fence, and that's where that may have gotten things a little broken up, a little bit messed up here deeper in the field. Doesn't actually look like he's got any damage there, so my eyes are deceiving me. Just the way that the graphics are on the Lightsabers number 21 ride is out in front. Everyone doing a great job. Still a lot of single file, a little bit of too wide right there, as I do believe that is the 40 ride. Unfortunately going another lap down here, so a tough break again for Jaden Newson, as Newson gonna go another lap down out there on the racetrack. He is gonna jump in line right here behind the 22 machine, and he'll try to sit there and hope to see a couple caution flags and a couple opportunities for him to get the lucky dogs, the wait for rounds, or anything else to try to get himself back onto the lead lap and back into contention here this afternoon. As Al Likens, Jack Simpson, 1 and 2 out there on the speedway. Our third place driver, the 54 of Justin Henry, as Henry rolls there in position number 3. Zach Wilson right there behind him. Brian Fine there in that 5th position, as the Logan Strong, the fine ride, rolls there in that 5th spot. Corey Denk right there behind him, as Denk there in position number 6. Dylan Picklesimmer back there in position number 7 with Jonathan Cogswell, Christopher James, and Tommy Colty back there rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Robert Tester in that Joey Logano-inspired Pennzoil 22 rolls there in that 11th position, and right there behind me you see the one and only driver as of right now who's down a lap, actually down multiple laps here. It's Jaden Newson. Newson right there behind him in that Premier Racing Setups number 40 ride. A little bit of a gap back to Gage Wenzel. Is Wenzel rolling there in position number 12. Now we saw Wenzel in the 94 ride. Got tied together down the back straightaway early in this race to bring out that first caution flag. And unfortunately for the number 36, the Tom's number 36 machine, had some pretty good damage on it, man. He got down hard into that 94. Some pretty significant contact between him and the 94. They're both trying to rebound from that. The 36 been working himself up and through the field a lot easier than Belton is. Adam Belton in the 94 ride sits back in 26 as of right now. It's Max Cost right there in position number 13. He's got Michael Sheffield there behind him in the 14th spot. The 19 ride, that is Ryan Chronister, as Chronister rolls there in position number 15. Drew King, Chris Zofeld, Chase Abel, Daryl Johnson, and Timothy Watson round out our top 20 here on the speedway. Now here comes that 96, the outside lane starting to move here once again. That is Aaron Spear and Anthony Ludi right there. The 96, oh look out, the 11 ride down onto the apron. It's Chris Zofeld. Zofeld making some pretty good contact right there as well. Looks like he may have saved it from making any contact actually with the outside fence, but looks like Abel's just going to get underneath him right there as he tries to get back in line with the car in front of him. Unfortunately goes down onto the apron, luckily enough able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction and rejoins the racing surface here. But that is a tough break for him, as he's got no help out there on the racetrack, just trying to get that thing still back up to speed and rolling, and he may be at risk of being the second driver to potentially go a lap down here this afternoon, and that is not good news for the one driver that is multiple laps down. That 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Is Newson, if he sees that 11 machine go a lap down, he could quickly be out of that free pass position and stay trapped a lap down if we see a caution flag out there on the racetrack. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this 40 ride and the 11 ride as Chris Zofeld trying to just get that thing rolling here once again. Now, no drafting help, so he's going to be way off the pace compared to the rest of the field here in the draft. And right now, he is quickly going more than half a lap down here on the racetrack. Is Al Likens, Jack Simpson still working well together, but now Simpson going to jump up to the high side here. He wants to pick up his teammate, that 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Newson up there, couple laps down, but still wanting to race here and help his teammates out at the front of the field as he may be just trying to race his way out in front, see if he can try to give himself a lap back out there on the racetrack as the 90 or the 46 right here, the 96 as well. All these drivers that were sitting farther back in the pack, they were towards the rear of the field. All of a sudden, they jumped up, started using that outside lane. They've had a couple drivers decide to go with them, and they are battling now up inside the top 10. So some great racing as we go back to 2x2 here at the front of the field. A lot more single file farther back throughout the pack. We'll have to wait and see if more drivers start to feel that intensity build, see if they want to start making some moves themselves up here into this fight at the front of the field as that 40 ride still trying to race his way back another lap on the racetrack as Gage Wenzel back up into that third position. A great run here again for Gage after being able to just narrowly survive that initial contact and that first caution flag between him and the 94, and that outside lane has brought the 94 right there with them. As here comes Adam Boughton. Boughton, our early race leader, trying to get back to the front of the field here. And 94, he's right there now, back inside the top 5 here for the 94. So what an easy run for these guys that were tied together, that made contact, went to the rear of the field, and now they're working well together. The Adidas number 95 ride, that Toyota right there of Anthony Ludi all over the back bumper of the 96. The Monster Energy ride of Aaron Spear getting pushed to the front of the field here. Spear out in front, leading the way here at Daytona International Speedway, but may not be for long as the 95 of Anthony Ludi jumps down low, leaves them high and dry, and quickly the 95 now to the front of the pack. So out in front, Anthony Ludi leads the way with Adam Boughton back into second. Aaron Spear right there in third with Michael Carter right there, as well as Kent Mueller. Mueller driving back up to the front as well. So great run there for him, as well as you see Aaron Spear hanging on right here in that 96 ride, able to get back into line down on the inside groove here in that third position. Unfortunately for Max Cost, he's trying to get that second lane rocking and rolling once again. This time, not a whole lot of helping hands. You start to see more drivers jump down low and leaving these two high and dry on the outside groove. But looks like Wenzel maybe was thinking about going up there. No, he is not going to slide up there. So they're kind of just stuck out there on that outside lane all by themselves. That is Max Cost in the 19 ride of Ryan Chronister. Chronister right there as well. Really nothing that these guys can do right now. Just hoping to maybe get a lane down low, maybe have some more drivers back here behind them want to race their way to the front of the field, and that's exactly what they needed as the 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Newson's going to jump in front of them, so at least adds another car to the stable there, trying to get that outside lane rolling, and they got a few more trying to get something building here a little farther back. Here comes, I'm not sure who those are. That is Robert Tester there. Tester in the 22. The Joey Logano in the right there. He's trying to get that outside groove rolling. That is the 7 ride of Abel right there behind him. I do believe that is the number 26. No, that is the, yes, the 26 ride of Tommy Pulte. Pulte up there on the outside groove. Pulte trying to get that outside lane rolling here as well towards the front of the field. So a lot of different drivers trying some different things early on in this race. And I mean, there's no better time to make a mistake out there on the racetrack. If you end up making a mistake, if you have a problem out there, this is the time to have it early on, where you can still have a little bit of time to rebound here. Hoping to see maybe a couple caution flags and a couple opportunities to work on your race car, trying to figure out a little bit of a different game plan throughout this race. And you never know. We could see this go clean and green, though. You make that mistake, you go to the back of the pack, at least you can build up that momentum and try to race your way back into the picture. But if you lose that track and you fall farther and farther behind this field, you could be in a tough spot. A quick hurry. When you look at the 11 ride, Chris Zofeld. Zofeld fell back there. Same with the 21 of Brad Fulham. Fulham here, they're running quite a bit off the pace of our race leaders here. They're about half a second or better slower than the race leaders out there on the racetrack. So every single lap that we stay clean and green, these drivers, they fall, a couple more feet back and a little bit closer to becoming the next drivers a lap down out there on the speedway. As out in front, it's now the 36 gauge Wenzel. Able to jump out in front is Jack Simpson. Right there behind him in position number 2. You see that number 40 right on Jaden Newsom. Newsom right there as well in position number 3. Unfortunately, he is a couple laps down and open to see a caution flag fly here in a quick hurry, as he knows he's a couple laps down. Would love to get a couple lucky dogs and work his way back onto the lead lap here this evening. As Anthony Ludi currently scored in that 3rd position. The beautiful Adidas number 95 ride rolling out there on the racetrack as Adam Bounton, Aaron Spear, Michael Carter, Kent Mueller, Ryan Gronister, Max Kost, and Joshua Siegfried trying to hold on to that 10th position, but Siegfried up there on the outside lane, unfortunately going to lose that 10th position as there goes Al Likens and Dylan Picklesimmer. Picklesimmer there able to jump up into the 11th position, and Joshua Siegfried unfortunately sliding farther back here now into that 12th position, but does get in line in front of the 26 of Tommy Pulte. As Pulte now there in position number 13 with Tester and that 54 of Justin Hendry right there behind him. You see that 51 ride, Zach Wilson. Wilson looked really strong in our clash last Thursday. That 51 looked very good. We saw him up towards the front of the field early on in this race. Actually made the initial contact that sent our now race leader, Gage Wenzel, down the racetrack into the 94. And somehow or another, Wenzel's battled his way back up to the front of the field. No damage off that contact between him and Adam Bounton. And Bounton right there as well in that 4th position. 2 drivers rebounding nicely from what could have been the end of their night. If they could have made any more contact, if they would have got into the inside or outside fence or slid back up into the middle of the racetrack, there could have been a lot of drivers and their nights ended in a quick hurry. But both drivers doing a fantastic job, able to get themselves down onto the apron, even spinning around, saving their cars from hitting any walls, and getting rebounded for that one, man. And here they are both back up inside the top 5. It's some great racing action out there on the speedway. These guys putting on a heck of a show for us as already 35 laps into this race. 35 laps right now on the racetrack, and these guys have been putting on a heck of a show for us. Lap after lap after lap. It's been full of excitement, man. A lot of drivers doing different things. Some comers, some goers, some drivers that I thought would be cruising and being on cruise control towards the back of the pack. When you look at a lot of this top 10, not too long ago, they were the bottom 10 on the racetrack. They were kind of just on cruise control, sitting back there deeper in the field, trying to make sure that they, stayed out of trouble, kept themselves clean out there on the speedway. And all of a sudden, they all jumped up to that outside lane, and they just put the hammer down, and bam, here they are now up at the front of the field. A few other drivers poking their nose into that outside lane and getting benefited from that as well. But these guys were deeper in the pack, and you see another pack starting to brew a little deeper back here once again. You look back here and you see that 2 of James Hudson rolling there in 23rd. Now they are a solid couple seconds back here of this lead pack, so they have actually fallen quite a ways behind Drew King and the rest of this pack here, but nonetheless, they're right there ready to strike the 28 of Timothy Watson there, as well as Scott Shine right there in the thick of things. That 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs, the 4 of Daryl Johnson, Chase Abel in the target number 7 ride, kind of bringing up the rear of the field here. They're going to go a little bit more single file now as they kind of get things settled out back there towards the rear of the field. Now they got a big gap, about 26 seconds back to the Two cars back here at the rear of the field. That is the 21 of Brad Fulham, the 11 of Chris Zofeld. As both those drivers running into problems, losing that draft, and unfortunately both drivers now at risk of potentially going a lap down, as they are about 32 seconds behind our race leaders, and that is about 15, 16 seconds away from potentially going a lap down themselves. And for the 40 ride that you see right there, had to come down during green flag conditions. He lost a couple laps here, and for that 40 machine right now, he is the first driver that's 8 or multiple laps down. It is in line, is in line for that free pass position. So if the 40 can see that caution flag here in the next few laps before they get together and start making the moves and put Brad Fulham or Chris Zofeld a lap down, he wants to see that yellow flag come out. He wants to see those guys stay on the lead lap, get that caution flag, and get the lucky dunk to put himself, closer to that lead lap, or at least right into contention here. So you do see a lot of drivers starting to head down pit road. So green flag pit stops now underway, and this is where things can get very, very interesting in a quick hurry. Do you have enough partners to come down pit road with? Can you get down pit road, make a clean pit stop, get back out there and stay lined up together and stay fairly tight? A lot of times in these races here at Daytona International Speedway, we see some drivers getting better pit stops than others, and some of them going out there and not really having a lot of dancing partners around them. It can really break up the field in a quick hurry, as we do see at least some drivers getting 2 tires here, and a lot of cats back onto the throttle, rolling back out onto the racetrack. One of those being Jack Simpson, as he is able to roll out first here from that first green flag set of pit stops. Now we'll get ready for another set here, as here comes that 63 right on Max Cost. Headed down pit road here. He's got Al Likens, Dylan Picklesimmer right there with him in the 45, Jonathan Cogswell, Christopher James, Drew King, Timothy Watson, Gavin Grubbs, James Hudson there, and we do see Chase Abel and a bunch of other drivers here. Scott Shine down pit road. Here comes Daryl Johnson as well in the Busch number 4 machine, also down on pit lane, and we'll have to wait and see where the rest of these drivers, there's still 4 cats out there on the racetrack yet to come down pit side here. Justin Harden, Hendry, Zach Wilson, Brian Fine, all right there, yet to come down pit road. The one ride by himself here, Michael Sheffield, all by himself here. Sheffield kind of having to come down with these guys. The 51 came down with a whole head of steam right there, and then we'll have to wait and see if any green flag pit stops here, any penalties out there on the racetrack, as we do see that first group up the speed down the back straightaway here, as the second pack that came down pit side, they're just starting to build that speed up here down the back stretch. Now we'll have to wait and see if they can slide up in front of these guys, if they make some moves. You see Max Koss getting pushed here by the 45. They're trying to build up that speed momentum to stay right here at the fight at the front of the field, but it is Jack Simpson who will take that lead. As oh baby, look out! Oh man, that 63 ride is got to be holding his breath right now, as Cost almost went a round, almost ended up in a high pile of pain right there, as that car was inches away from disaster on the racetrack. Luckily enough, able to catch it, able to keep it rolling here, as we do see, unfortunately for the one ride, Michael Sheffield rolls back out there onto the racetrack. He's kind of all by himself right here, nobody with him. He's not going to get any draft off of the 63 or the 84 right there. He's trying to get a little bit of it. Unfortunately, they're just pulling so much speed down the back straightaway that he's going to have to wait for the next driver to come up to his back bumper, and that's a couple seconds away here, where you see Robert Tester and Gavin Grubbs, the 40 right there as well, of Jaden Newsom. He's got a big gap to try to catch up to that number 1 machine. Help try to push him out there on the racetrack, is that lead pack is starting to build back up here. Drivers getting in line. Drivers able to catch that draft, and we see about the first 14, 15 drivers here, all right here in this pack, and then it goes all the way back to Max Cost in that 84 machine. of Jonathan Cogswell. So our top 15 all right there together. Bringing up the back of that pack is the 85 of Joshua Siegfried, as Siegfried rolls there in that 15th position. Out in front, Jack Simpson leading the way down on the inside lane to the outside. That is Gage Wetzel, as Wetzel and Gage door to door down across the start finish line. They will flip off another lap, and that will bring a close there to our first set of green flag pit stops, and potentially not the only set of green flag pit stops. 75% fuel for these drivers, so 75% fuel, I'm going to say, probably gets them around 30 to 33, 34 laps out there on the racetrack before they gotta head down pit side. So we should see them back down pit road around lap number 70, somewhere in that area. Maybe be able to stretch it just a little bit towards lap 75. But I think around that lap 70, that's where we're really gonna see a lot of drivers. If we're still clean and green, that's when they're gonna come down pit road and make what could be potentially their final pit stop on the day here in our Hypershift Racing League season opener here with the 213 SimWear 250 here from Daytona International Speedway. As out in front, a good run going here for the beautiful number 24 ride, man. He has been hooked up here all afternoon. The 51 now right there with him. So a couple of drivers that we saw battling up at the front of the field on Thursday night's opener here, they're right there. They're all battling kind of together. A bunch of these drivers we saw in this fight at the front of the pack when it came to our first race, that duel last Thursday. And man, oh man, oh man, they've been putting on a show each and every one of these laps. It hasn't been a whole lot of too many back and forths or anything else. It's been just absolutely amazing driving here. These guys have just been putting on a heck of a show, heck of a race for us. And one caution flag so far. One caution flag so far out there on the racetrack. And getting closer and closer here to that halfway marker. So we're almost getting up to that halfway in, halfway to go out there on the speedway. And whew, baby, the intensity is just going to be building more and more and more, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see non-stop amazing racing here all afternoon. And if you guys are just tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as man, oh man, some great racing here with the Hypershift Racing League. And for every single like, comment, share helps push that stream out to more and more people, and we appreciate everyone's love and support here, not only for myself, but for the drivers out there. They love to see the fans in the stands. They love to see you guys cheering them on. So if you haven't already, make sure you jump into that comment section. Let us know who you're cheering for, who you want to see up and in victory lane here this evening, as right now it's still that 24 rider Jack Simpson who leads the way here. Simpson continuing to show these drivers how to get it done here in this one, as Trina Wright says, let's go 11, cheering on the 11 right out there on the racetrack. Now, we did see Zofeld run into some problems earlier on here. Zofeld almost went around. Luckily enough, was able to save that car from heavy contact to the inside fence here. The 21 of Brad Fulham also fell back. Unfortunately, lost that draft, but they've been working together. They've been nose to tail out here for quite a few laps, and they are about a straightaway, maybe not even a full straightaway, behind our race leaders here as they are storming down the backstretch. This big group of cats trying to hunt them down, potentially going to put them a lap down out there on the speedway, and it's definitely not the early breaks that Zofeld and Fulham were hoping for here. Newsome, we also saw go multiple laps down early in this race after a extended pit stop here under the green flag conditions for the 40 ride, and fortunately just no caution flag since then, and no opportunities to really gain that lap back or anything else on the speedway. And a couple of drivers in front of him technically could potentially go a lap down. That could trap him back there in the 31st starting position. As out in front, leading the way, it's the 24 of Jack Simpson. Simpson out in front with Zach Wilson right there in position number 2. Wilson doing a great job out there on the speedway. We actually got a little in-car camera here of Zach Wilson, so let's take a good look here as Jared Johnson says, let's go 7, cheering on the 7 car out there on the speedway. Let's take a look here at the 51 right. We got the in-car camera here for Zach Wilson. We'll be able to see what he can see, kind of deal. See what he's doing here. You see the surroundings, the cockpit that he's sitting in, and how focused he is right now, rolling in that second position. Let's jump right on board with this number 51. Give you a great look at what Zach's doing back here behind the wheel. He's staring down the back bumper of this 2430 Motorsports number 24 ride here, the Premier Racing Setups ride of Jack Simpson, pushing him down the back straightaway here. You see him moving around a little bit. That's where you really want to try to just keep your car as straight as possible. And if you're on the back bumper of somebody and you start to see them moving around a little bit like that, you almost got to roll out of it. Try to not really be as hard on their back bumper, as if they get a little too loose, you could hook them in a quick hurry, could spin them around and create a big one out there on the racetrack. Is down across the line. That 24, Jack Simpson going to lead another lap with Zach Wilson right there in tow. As you see this top pack all right there together. 15 drivers in this lead pack here. A big gap all the way back to our 16th place driver, and so far it's been non-stop racing action. Only one caution flag here this afternoon, and boy, oh boy, we've been very, very close to many other yellow flags, but somehow or another, no more caution flags out there on the speedway. It's still clean and green racing, as this time by the start-finish line, we will officially be down 50 laps and 50 more laps of racing action left to go here in the Hypershift Racing League season opener. It is the 213SimWear 250 from Daytona International Speedway, as halfway in, halfway to go. Jack Simpson leads us there at that halfway marker as our top 15. Out in front here, having a great race, having a good green flag pit stop. They're all tied right there together. They got about 5 seconds all the way back to where you see the second group starting to build. That is the 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs, the 34 of Drew King, the number 28, that is Timothy Watson, James Hudson right there as well, Daryl Johnson rounding out our top 20, Christopher James, Michael Sheffield, Robert Tester, the 26 of Tommy Pulte back there in position number 24. Max Cost there as well, bringing up the back of that second pack on the racetrack. So top pack has about 15 drivers. This pack has about another 10 drivers in it. Then all the way back about 4 seconds behind these guys is another 2-car pack. The 84 of Jonathan Cogswell, the 40 line of Jaden Newson. Newson, unfortunately, multiple laps down here. Cogswell still on the lead lap here, but really not a lot of drafting help. And the same goes for these drivers back here, but they're starting to get a little help themselves, as you do see the 11 of Chris Sofeld, Brad Fulham. They just cut up and gained a little extra space here as Scott Shive and Chase Abel both kind of getting there with them. Now they're trying to get lined up and see if they can get this 4-car pack to stay in front of our lead pack, as that lead pack is right there ready to pounce. They are ready to try to put those 4 drivers a lap down, trying to trap them back there behind them. But as they're running too wide here, if they try to pass these guys and they go 30 wide, things will get very, very tight in a quick hurry. And sometimes just the absolute sheer speed of this lead pack rolling up to some slower cars in front of them can create some issues, so we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens here as they start to run down those 4 drivers at risk of going a lap down here on the racetrack. These guys, though, they're trying everything they can, everything in their power to try to stay on this lead lap and not fall back any farther here. And last time around, they ran a lot slower than our race leaders, unfortunately. Quite a bit slower. They are still losing time, not quite locked together like I think they would like to be, and unfortunately they fall further and further back there. Chase Abel, Scott Shive, you see Brad Fulham and Chris Zofeld potentially at risk of going a lap down. And for all these drivers out in front, I mean, they want to put them a lap down, but it is nerve-wracking trying to get around some of those slower drivers. And you see everyone kind of realize that they're catching up to that 4-car pack and that they might be lapping them here, and they all kind of just settle down there. They were running too wide for quite a while, but now they go back to single file. And as I say that, the 51 ride says, you know what, I want to be out in front. I want to be leading this race. And Zach Wilson leaves the 20 24 rider, Jack Simpson, high and dry. So Jack slides all the way back into position number 6, where he finds the front bumper there of the 36 of Gage Wenzel. Wenzel now onto his back bumper is out in front. Zach Wilson leading the way here at Daytona International Speedway. Justin Hendry right there with him. Brian Fine there in position number 3. Dylan Picklesimmer, Jack Simpson, our top 5 out there on the racetrack, as you do see that double file starting to brew once again. So these guys, they're not backing down one little bit. They want to keep on battling. Whether or not there's lap traffic in front of them is a big block right there out of the 51. Zach Wilson shoots up the racetrack, blocks the run from the 24 of Simpson. Simpson, unfortunately, nowhere to go. Has to get settled back in behind that number 51 right. We'll have to wait and see if he wants to make a move here. Does he try to lead that 51 right now high and dry, or does the 51 just keep on trying to keep control of this front of the field here, sliding from the high side to the bottom side, but a big run coming to his outside, and it looks like that 24 rider Jack Simpson will go back out in front, as the help from the 36 of Gage Wenzel working perfectly here for him this afternoon. We do see that 17 of Corey Denk right there as well. He's up into position number 3 on the speedway. The 19 right of Ryan Chronister right there, as well as Chronister rolls there in that 4th position. In the 51 of Zach Wilson now back into that 5th position and sliding even farther back the outside lane, finding some pretty good speed up there, and they're looking to just try to control this race as they inch closer and closer to that lap traffic. Now this lap traffic may get lucky enough as too wide. Maybe they find some good runs. They've got some speed there with the 4-car pack. Maybe they can slide right in here, not fall too far behind, and maybe stay right there in a good striking position for that lucky dog, the free pass opportunity out there on the speedway if we see another caution flag here this afternoon. Is Jack Simpson leading the way here once again at Daytona International Speedway. Lap traffic gonna play a hand here. It's nice and easy down through the tri-oval. You see that 4-car pack, once they kind of got those extra 2 cars, they picked up the pace ever so slightly. They're able to carry quite a bit of momentum. Now that it's double file, you see the 45 right rolls up the back bumper of that 7 machine, and they're just going to make a pretty good long line right there. And unfortunately for all these other drivers that were hoping to just freight train them and keep them a lap down and put them deeper in the field here, they're going to be racing alongside these other 4 drivers. So they'll be right there in the thick of things. Potential drafting partners or helping hands out there for certain drivers at the front of the field, and definitely could open up some opportunities to move forwards or backwards here throughout this race, as the 24 Jack Simpson and Gage Wenzel quickly jump down low in front of those lap down cars. Now we're starting to see that inside lane dissipate ever so slightly. The inside lane starting to become more dominant once again, so we'll have to wait and see if the outside lane can get a couple extra players up there to help them out, or if everyone's just going to get back to the inside and start just roll some laps here again, as we still got a long ways to go before we see that checkered flag. Still a lot of laps left here this afternoon. Is down across the line. We will complete lap number 59. Lap 60 will go up onto the board, so we're going to have about 41 laps of racing action left here this afternoon. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you've been enjoying the racing action here this evening, make sure you hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, as we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. Crank up that volume. Cheer on your favorite driver as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Look out, contact, and another caution flag here during the Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So a caution flag here during our Crank It Up session as we are inching closer and closer to more green flag pit stops out there on the racetrack. We saw that contact again down and out of corner number 2. That seems to be the area tonight where we've seen a lot of issues for these drivers. Let's play this back and see where this kind of all gets started. Is just some good pushing and shoving, everyone trying to keep themselves pointing the right direction. Unfortunately, you see the 81 ride, Scott Shive. Shive gets into the back end here of the 17. Now he's been pushing pretty aggressively here to the back bumper of the 17 ride's rear, and unfortunately just coming out of corner number 2. I'm not sure if the 81 gets loose first or if we see the 17 get a little bit broken off. Do you see how they kind of separate right there? One kind of goes down to the middle, one kind of goes up a little bit higher. They kind of just cross over each other back down out of corner number 2. The 17, unfortunately, the tiny toes ride goes down the racetrack, comes back up in heavy contact into the 11, into the 81. Everyone trying to separate, everyone trying to figure out where they need to go here, and some pretty good damage for quite a few drivers. Even the 57, the 95 of Ludi, they're going to get some pieces of this one as they were starting to catch up to this lead pack, and they were starting to race their way into the fight here at the front of the field. But now things get a lot more broken up in a quick hurry, as that's a tough break there for the number 17, as Corey Denk was having a great run here, and now that contact bouncing around here a couple times. More damage with the 11. You see the 11 actually of Zofeld ends up getting a good piece. I do believe that is the 63 potentially there to the outside lane. I'm not too sure if that's the 63. There's so many cars out there that look a lot alike that I believe that was the 63 or the 54 that got a good piece of that one right there. Unfortunately, some pretty good contact for the 11, pretty good contact for the 17. We also saw the 95 and the 57 get tied together here, as well as Anthony Ludi was trying to get through here. Everyone kind of stacking up, everyone kind of just guessing on where they need to go here, and unfortunately he ends up making some pretty good contact there with Fine, and unfortunately for Fine, he goes shooting down the racetrack. This 57 ride skirts down the speedway and ends up making, I'm not sure if he ends up making contact with the wall right there or not. Let's take this back and see if we can get another look at it here. As Fine definitely slammed down the racetrack in a quick hurry here, and for Brian Fine, not the way he wanted things to go, and pretty good rear end damage. Gets a little piece there of the 85, and luckily enough he does get it locked up enough, spins it back around and avoids any significant damage with the inside fence there for the NJP Designs number 57 ride. And unfortunately a lot of drivers got some pretty good contact right there. Zofeld, a lot of others unfortunately tied up right there, as Trina says, oh, sorry, Zofeld, unfortunately, getting some pretty good damage there in that one. And he was right there in that mix as well for potentially the lucky dog out there on the speedway. I do believe the lucky dog, I'm not 100% sure, maybe going to Chase Abel here this afternoon. So Abel maybe getting that lucky dog to wave around here, as Scott Shive. Shive was collected in that caution flag. Brad Fulham, unfortunately, I don't think was in that free pass position. Still scored back in 29th. Chris Zofeld down pit side, getting worked onto his car. I do believe it was the 54 of Hendry, who ended up actually getting a pretty good piece of that 11 right as well. He's got some pretty good right front damage there on that 54, but the Just Run going to roll back out there onto the racetrack. He's going to try to stay on the lead lap here, making sure that he can try to get this car fixed back up. Get another lap or two to try to get it fixed up here this afternoon. We see the 94 just rolling back out there, as well as we do see it's like Chase Abel still back here behind our race leader. Some other drivers, so we'll wait and see if anyone gets that lucky dog as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. So a little bit of craziness, a little bit of excitement there during the Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up, and that's going to bring us right tight to our window here on whether or not drivers are going to make it the rest of the distance here on fuel. It's going to get very close here, I think, for the fuel mileage for a lot of these drivers, and whether or not they can make it to the end, if they can try to maybe use that as the final pit stop, but if we do see a late race caution flag, that may put a lot of them into a difficult position. They may have to end up going down pit side if we go to a green-white checkered or anything else. So I'll have to wait and see if that is technically our final pit stop on the day, or if we'll see these drivers at least one more time back down pit road as the 24 leading the way here in this one, choosing the outside lane. Jackson in that 24 ride. Al Likens down low in that 100-year anniversary Napa Auto Parts number 9 Chevrolet rolls there in position number 2. The 45 of Dylan Pickelzimmer there in third with the 36 of Gage Wenzel there in fourth. The 19 ride, that is Ryan Cronister. Cronister rolls there in the 5th position with the 28 of Timothy Watson back there in position number 6. Restarting in the 7th position is the number 85 ride of Joshua Siegfried. Siegfried will have Michael Sheffield to his outside with James Hudson and Justin Hendry rounding out our top 10 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Daytona International Speedway. Nice and easy down through the Geico restart zone, and we see that green flag fly here once again as Jack Simpson quickly onto the lap pedal, hoping that that 36 stays glued to his back bumper. They've been working well together as you do see the 36 and the 24 jump down low into that inside lane where Al Likens will sit there in position number 3 now. Now he's looking, thinking about trying to go to the outside groove here. Has that 45 right there behind him as they get rocking and rolling back up to speed down the back straightaway. We'll continue on with our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for all these drivers as a beautiful crank it up session right there, giving us the sights and sounds around Daytona International Speedway here this evening. With only 25 more laps left to go, we inch closer and closer to the checkered flag here this evening. As these drivers, they're starting to feel that intensity. The sun is starting to set, but things are just starting to heat up here in the beautiful Sunshine State, Daytona International Speedway, Daytona, Florida, here, the home of the Hypershift Racing League for our first points race of the season. As our 213SimWear 250 this afternoon underway here. This is our Daytona 500 here this afternoon, and we see the 8 ride out in front leading the way. That is the DHL machine of Kent Mueller. Mueller out in front, showing these drivers how to get it done. He's got Michael Carter right there in position number 2. Carter trying to stay on the back bumper there as they're going to leave the high side wide open. Here comes the 85 of Joshua Siegfried. Siegfried now to the outside groove here. He's racing his way towards the front of the field. It's the outside of that 18 machine as he's got Anthony Ludi right there on his back bumper. Unfortunately for that 7 ride and the 81, that's Scott Shive and Chase Abel. Both these drivers that are up here battling inside the top 10 on the racetrack. The 7 and the 81 machine are both a lap down out there on the racetrack. The lightsaber number 21 of Brad Fulham. Fulham also scored a lap down out there on the racetrack. And deeper in the field, you see this 11 of Chris Zofeld. Zofeld, he's all by his lonesome out there on the racetrack. The Mobile 1, number 11 ride. He is now a lap down and potentially going to go multiple laps down here as he's got no dancing partners, no helping hands here. And our lead pack is going to be running roughly about, I'm going to say, 3-4 seconds quicker than what he is on the racetrack. So unfortunately losing a ton of time and falling even farther back as we do see a shuffle here at the front of the field. The inside lane getting a great run right there, and they're going to push Joshua Siegfried. Siegfried now out in front leading the way. That's Corey Denk. Denk right there in position number 2, the 17 ride, who we just saw go around and was a part of that second caution flag. He has raced his way once again from the back of the pack towards the front of the field here, and now sits in position number 2. He's got Robert Tester right there behind him. Tester in that 22. The Pennzoil ride rolls there in that 3rd position. Ryan Chronister having a great run right there. It's in position number 4 and looking for more. The 7 ride, that is Chase Abel, one of our lap down drivers, sitting there in that 5th position as Kent Mueller back there in position number 6. Michael Carter, Anthony Ludi, the 81 there is also a lap down. That's Scott Shive. As Shive rolls there in position number 28th right now, and unfortunately a lap down. We'll see Christopher James right there behind him. That is our 8th place driver in that gray, blue, and black Samsung number 8 machine. Behind him, the 84, that's Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell now into the 9th position, and the beautiful Zero Reese's number 63 ride of Max Koss rounding out our top 10. Jack Simpson back here in 11 with Aaron Spear. Gage Wenzel, Brian Fine there in 14th. Daryl Johnson, Dylan Picklesimmer, Al Likens, James Hudson, Drew King, and Gavin Grubbs in this number 12 ride, rounding out our top 20 on the racetrack. The car there in 21st, the 28 ride, that is Timothy Watson. Watson bringing up the tail end of this lead pack here as a bit of a gap, almost 2.5 seconds now, all the way back here to this 1 ride. Michael Sheffield kind of by himself here in 22nd, has the 51 of Zach Wilson right there, as well as the 26 of Tommy Pulte. Is Pulte back here as well? These 3 unfortunately kind of losing the draft here with that lead pack. They're still trying to work together. They're still trying to hang in there, but unfortunately that 3-car pack just not able to keep up as much as they would like to, and they are falling farther and farther outside the draft here. Same with that 54, who's kind of all by his lonesome here. Still has pretty heavy damage after contact down the back straightaway during that second caution flag. The 54 of Justin Hendry, not the way he wanted his afternoon to go, and we do see Adam Boughton as well in the Amazon Prime number 94 ride. He's got some pretty good front end damage as well in that 94 ride. He's got no drafting help. He's back here in 26, and he could potentially be the next driver to go a lap down here this afternoon, as he's about 38 seconds behind our race leader, which is now the 45 ride of Dylan Picklesimmer. Picklesimmer out in front, Gavin Grums and Timothy Watson working their way to the front of the field. It was only a couple laps ago when we were working through the field that we saw this 28 ride back in 21st. He was at the back of the line here of this lead pack and now sits in that third position, just showing you that if you can get lined up together with a couple good friends, a couple teammates, or a good couple drivers that can put the hammer down and roll towards the front of the field, you can find a lot of speed in a quick hurry, and you can get yourself up into the front here in a matter of time. Now, it all depends if you got open lanes or not out there on the racetrack, because we do see the 24 rider Jack Simpson. He's trying to get that second lane rolling here once again. He's got the 96 right there, Aaron Spear on his back bumper. Now the 28 rider Timothy Watson gonna jump up in front of him. Simpson gets almost up into the outside fence right there. Now gonna drive down low. He's gonna leave the 28 kind of high and dry right there, get in line behind the 19 Ryan Chronister. Now we have the 24 right there behind us. We do see Tester jumps up to the outside lane. He saw all that speed and momentum starting to come, as now you see the 28 gonna find a hole. He'll jump back down low in behind this 24 right. Oh baby, things got tight right there, trying to side draft down into the tri-oval for Jack Simpson and Robert Tester. They made a little bit of contact. They both got a little squirrely. Luckily enough, they were able to get their cars roll in and keep them pointed in the right direction. No caution flag as we edge closer and closer to the end of this race, as Kim Mundy says go 7, cheering on the 7 ride out there on the speedway. Unfortunately for the 7 ride of Abel is unfortunately still scored a lap down back in that 28th position, not the spot that the target number 7 would want to be here this afternoon, as he strolls back there in the 28th spot. Is Linda O'Keefe. How are you, Linda? Linda coming in, showing the love, says go Gage, cheering on Gage out there on the racetrack, as he just had a pretty up and down day here. Gage Wenzel's been at the front, got tied up in that first caution flag, went to the back of the pack, raced his way back up to the front, then ran into more problems, and unfortunately the one driver that he made contact with during that first caution flag is the number 94 of Adam Boughton. Boughton with that front end damage, sees that lead pack coming, just jumps down onto the apron down through corner 1 and 2. Doesn't want to make any other issues for the drivers out there on the racetrack, and fortunately he's off the pace, still rolling out there, but back in 29th now, and he is a lap down as well, scored here for the 94. So a tough break for our early race leader this afternoon. Definitely not the way he wanted things to go, as he's starting to see that 2x2 start to form up here a little bit more, potentially 3 wide, just moments away here, as I know each and every one of these drivers, they are nipping at the bit. They are foaming out the mouth here. They want to try to find victory lane first and be that first driver to pick up a win on the season and put themselves directly through into our speed playoffs here. If they can pick up that dub and lock themselves in, then that's what they're going to look for. If not, they just want to have a good point stay here and being at the front of the field and being able to show these drivers that you could be the car to beat here all year long and set the tone, build that momentum up, and get things off on the right foot is exactly what these drivers are hoping for. So each and every one of them are racing their hearts out, and as we inch closer and closer to that checkered flag, your friends start to become your foes out there. They may help you, they may not help you, they may leave you high and dry. You may have to leave them high and dry and make some moves if you want to try to find your way into victory lane here this evening. So the teamwork starts to fall out of the bottom here late in this race. If you and your teammates got a shot at picking up the win, you're going to duke it out there no matter who's around you or what's around you. Each and every one of them want to find their way into the top spot here this evening and celebrate at the beautiful Daytona International Speedway. Such a historical racetrack and a great place to not only get the real NASCAR season underway, where we just saw, Chase Elliott and Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, all those guys, just go to battle and just duke it out there at the real Daytona International Speedway just moments ago. But now we see our series kind of getting underway here in the exact same place, the World Center of Racing. There's no better place to start a season like NASCAR than right here at Daytona, and that's exactly what we see. And right now it's Aaron Spear who's leading the way here. Now, a lot of times we see the driver that's leading on the final lap, not the driver to pick up the checkered flag, as they're starting to run into a little lap traffic right there. That's the 11 ride of Zofeld. Unfortunately for Zofeld, he's gotten tied up in a couple different issues. Went a lap down early, then he got tied up there in that second caution flag. Pretty good damage there to the 11 ride, and unfortunately going to go another lap down back there in that 30th position right now for the 11 machine. As Jaden Newson also off of the speedway in the 40 ride. Now Jaden was in position for a little while, potential lucky dog spots, potential to maybe try to race his way back towards the lead lap, but a green flag pit stop, an unscheduled green flag pit stop in the 40 of Jaden Newson kind of took him out of this race early on this afternoon, and now off the racetrack and out of this race is out in front. Aaron Spear trying to hold on to the race lead as here comes that DHL number 8 ride as Kent Mueller taking a big run down low. He'll jump in front of the 45 ride of Dylan Picklesimmer now into position number 2 here, pushing that DHL number 8 ride to the front of the field as the 22 Robert Tester right there ready to pounce as well. Tester we saw pick up a checkered flag a couple weeks ago in one of our preseason races here with the Hypershift Racing League, as he actually tries to go up the racetrack, ends up making a little contact right there. The 18 ride unfortunately falling backwards. Now that's Michael Carter who was rolling right there just inside the top 5. Now after that little bit of contact and having to roll out of the throttle, slides back 5-8 positions on the speedway. Now score back in the 13th position and outside the top 10. So a tough break right there for him, as definitely don't think that's exactly what a 22 was hoping to try to do right there, but unfortunately did not work out for the 18 ride. As see 2x2 back here behind our top 3 is out in front. It's Dylan Picklesimmer out in front, leading the way. Aaron Spear right there in position number 2. In position number 3 is the 22, the Pennzoil Shell number 22 of Robert Tester. No, that's not Joey Logano. That is Robert Tester there in position number 3 with the Adidas 95 ride. Anthony Ludi there in position number 4, and looking for more is Kent Mueller back there in that 5th spot. Has Jack Simpson right there to his outside. Simpson getting a great run, a great push here from Gage Wenzel, as Wenzel once again hooked up here with that 24 ride. These two have been working well together all afternoon, and now you see that 22 going to drive up in front of him here. He's going to look to try to stall him out, or maybe try to steal a little bit of their thunder, see if they can help push him to the front of the pack here as they stay glued together there. Nose to tail right behind that 22. Now he's going to leave him kind of high and dry right there. Jumps down to the inside lane once again. Finds that hole. Lucky enough was still there for him as the 95 right at Anthony Ludi. Oh, baby, you couldn't fit a piece of paper between the front bumper and the back bumper of the 22 and the 24 right there, as a big block out of that 22 as Robert Tester went shooting up the racetrack down the back straightaway just over the nose right there of Jack Simpson, and it doesn't get any closer than that, ladies and gentlemen, with only 8 more laps left to go, this time by the start-finish line. This one's getting closer and closer to the checkered flag. Only about 20 miles left to go here in this race. 20 miles to figure out who will be the first winner of the season. Finally, we see a caution flag and potential of NASCAR overtime here this afternoon, as you do see that 51 trying to work his way back up through the field. Here comes Zach Wilson. Wilson trying to get himself back inside the top 10 on the racetrack, and you see the 17 ride right there as well. That is Corey Denk trying to work his way up and through here as well. The Tiny Toe 17 ride all over the back bumper there of the U.S. Postal Service number 34, as Drew King just trying to hold on to that thing, as you do see a bit of a gap starting to brew right here between these drivers at the back. You do see the 88 of Christopher James. It's a bit of a gap now. 1.3 seconds all the way back here to the 9 ride of Al Likens. Tommy Pulte right there as well, the 81. Unfortunately, the lap down, the 57 of Brian Fine scored in 20th position with Daryl Johnson, Michael Sheffield, James Hudson right there in the number 2. Joshua Siegfried back at the rear of that little bit of a pack here, but unfortunately for these guys, they are quite a bit of a distance here between themselves and that lead pack, but that could be by design as things were getting very racy here at the front of the field, and at any moment in time we could see the big one here at Daytona International Speedway. The big one could be right around the corner. One wrong move, one wrong push, one wrong bump could spin somebody around, whether it's in the middle of the pack or the front of the field or the back of the pack, and that could put us into a very interesting situation where we may see some, NASCAR overtime, a couple green-white checkers, and potentially some craziness to unfold here late in this race as each and every one of these drivers trying to get back to the white flag, hoping to see this one go clean and green down to the end as the 12 ride of Gage Wenzel jumps down low. He will take that race lead away. So Wenzel out in front here once again at Daytona International Speedways. The 45 ride of Dylan Picklesimmer there on his back bumper, but the 36 jumps up, blocks the outside groove here. Gavin Grubbs nowhere to go, but they make contact. Grubbs in the 36. Here he go. Turns around. Picklesimmer tied up in this one. Everyone trying to get through there. Luckily enough, looks like a lot of drivers able to avoid that. Not the big one as of yet, but contact at the front of the field. You'll watch this 36 ride going from the bottom lane to the high side here. This is a big move from Gage Wenzel, and unfortunately, just not going to work out here. A lot of speed, a lot of momentum coming to the back bumper of the 36 as he slides up in front of the 12 ride. They're trying to get lined together. Everyone's trying to get things figured out, but once again, they're just going to get tied together again on the exit here. You see contact right there. The 12 trying to get up and around the 36. Again, the 36 trying to block, trying to keep that 12 back there behind him. Unfortunately, they get tied together. The 36 up into the outside fence, bounces off the wall, over the nose of the 12 right. They come down the racetrack, hard contact into the 45. Unfortunately for the 12, the 36, pretty heavy contact there for all of them. Look at Robert Tester, man. That was a great heads-up piece of driving here. Watch the 22. So he's the second car in line on the inside groove there. The red and yellow car here. He sees this happening and makes the great move to jump way down low. You see that car up and off of all the wheels here as they go down through a bit of the road course here. He actually does a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump right there, trying to get through there. That car, whoop, whoop, a couple little big bumps, and luckily enough, able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction and keeps himself out of damage and out of any major issues there as Picklesimmer sliding around the 45 ride. Who's out in front, did not want to see that in. Looking for 3 drivers that were right there in position to potentially pick up a checkered flag here this afternoon. Now going to bring out that yellow flag as the 22 of Robert Tester will be given the race lead as he was technically the first car not a part of that caution flag and able to keep himself out of trouble there. So the 22 of Robert Tester now leads the way. Now it's a big decision. Do you come down pit side? Do you stay out? Here we go. We do see a couple drivers deciding to head down pit road. Aaron Spear, Christopher James. Here comes Jack Simpson. That's 63 of Max Koss. Zach Wilson. Here comes Ryan Cronister. Michael Carter down pit road. Brian Fine. James Hudson. Daryl Johnson. All these drivers and pretty much everyone else in the back of the pack. Here comes Al Likens. You see Michael Sheffield down there. All these drivers headed down pit road, making this potentially last pit stop of the day, as we did see about 7 drivers stay out there on the racetrack, did not come down pit road. Now, I don't know if tires will play a huge factor in this. It may not make you faster, but may make your car handle a little bit better, or when those big shoves and pushes are coming this late in the race. It could be a difference maker between holding onto your car or going for a ride out there on the speedway. Robert Tester going to stay out in front, though. Keep that race lead. He wants the track position. He wants the restart here from the front of the field as Jonathan Cogswell back there in position number 2. Then we see Timothy Watson now into position number 3. Drew King there in 4th. The 17 ride of Corey Denk there in position number 5. Kent Mueller back in 6, and then we see the 26. That is Tommy Pulte back there in that 7th spot. Christopher James, one of the first drivers to come down pit road here during this yellow flag late in the race. He'll get lined up in that 8th position, so we'll have to wait and see if that extra fuel, the extra tires, or anything else could potentially help propel this 88, the 96, or any of these drivers deeper in the field to the front of the pack. As we'll get a quick break in here and a quick word in from our sponsors over at Spider Designs. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the moment you've been waiting for, our first attempt at the green-white checkered finish here this afternoon. So our first attempt here at a green-white checkered. So if we do see a caution flag come back out before the yellow flag, we will stack them up. We will do it all over again. As down through the go restart zone, Robert Tester quickly back onto the lap pedal as Tester looking to try to lead us in these final couple laps in trying to pick up the first checkered flag of the season. As down into corner number 1, you see the 28 making a big move there to the outside groove. Here comes that 17 Corey Denk right there to the back bumper of the Pennzoil Shell number 22 ride as they are going, pushing and shoving up the full song and bird down the back straightaway. Driver shift up into that top gear down the back stretch. Here is Robert Tester leading the way. Everyone trying to figure out a way around the racetrack. A big block right there as the 22 jumps up to the outside groove. Contact, around goes the 34. We will have another green-white checkered as this could be the big one. Down through corner number 3 and 4. The 34 goes around in a bunch of drivers tied up here in this one. Heavy damage to the 96 ride. That is the 85 also collected in that as Joshua Siegfried also tied up in there. Man, there's so many drivers. James Hudson getting pretty good damage. Aaron Spear, this car barely keep on rolling. Looks like he's going to come to a stop and take that car down pit road. We do see the 45 ride. Heavy damage here for Dylan Picklesimmer. Heavy smoke rolling out of the front end. That car looks like it's stuck down in the grass and potentially the end of his night. Heavy damage as well to the 57 ride. Rear end damage here, and looks like that car is grip walking a little bit out there. It's crab walking down the straightaways here ever so slightly. That's going to really affect the handling as we'll take a look back and see what happens as Another caution flag and another attempt at NASCAR overtime coming up here, ladies and gentlemen, as take a look and see where things really got started here. As it seemed like it was quite a bit farther forward with this 34 ride of Drew King here. So things going to get stacked up. The 22 is going to jump to the outside groove right here. It stacks up the 28. Now the 84 getting stacked up, and it just kind of navigates and pushes through this group. And the 88, the 34, they just get kind of off each other there a little bit. The 34 goes up a little bit higher. The 88 ends up giving a shove. Nowhere to go for the 51 ride as well. That's a tough break for Zach Wilson, looking to have a big day here. Then all those drivers over that outside groove. Max Cost in there as well. Pretty good contact for himself. All these drivers down the racetrack, then up into the outside fence. Heavy damage for a lot of competitors here this evening. You see the 57 getting rear-ended there by the 81. Up the racetrack hard into Zofield. The 2 and the 30 or 63 tied together. Where to go for the 85 as he stuck up there on the outside fence. Heavy contact here for the 51, the 96 ride. A lot of these guys, man, just really nowhere for them to go, and they end up with a lot of damage and a lot of tore up race cars in a quick hurry. Let's see if we can jump on board here with Aaron Spear. Spear led this race for a little bit. Now all of a sudden, heavy contact. He thought he was around it, and all of a sudden gets hooked, and bam! 180 miles an hour up into that outside fence. That is a big hit right there for him, and unfortunately, it's probably all she's going to write for that 96 ride here tonight, is the big one potentially down through 3 and 4, and a lot of drivers getting tore up here. Jack Simpson getting a little bit of damage. You see Abel getting a piece of that one as well, and a lot of tore up race cars, a lot of destruction down there. These cars are going to come down pit side. They're going to hope to try to get their cars repaired here. We do see Zach Wilson. He's down on pit road. He's trying to get his car repaired. We see James Hudson, he's down there. Joshua Siegfried. Adam Boughton still down pit side. We see the 45 of Dylan Picklesamer. He's down pit road. Looks like Aaron Spears took his car right off the racetrack. Anthony Ludy's down pit road in the Adidas 95. Justin Hendry, he's still out there. Pretty heavy damage, but scored back in the 29th position. Gavin Grubbs, he's still down pit road in the Menards number 12. And we just thinned out the herd quite a bit down through corner number 3 and 4 is out in front at the time of the caution flag. It was the 4 rider, Darrell Johnson. So Johnson scored as our race leader, as a couple other drivers ended up coming down pit road, as we did see Corey Denk have to come down pit side. Robert Tester, Timothy Watson, Jonathan Cogswell, Ken Bueller, Tommy Pulte all came down pit road right there. Not for damage. They weren't a part of that caution flag, but I think they were able to save enough fuel that they had enough there for one attempt at the NASCAR overtime here in that green-white checker. But unfortunately, seeing another yellow flag come out, more laps around the racetrack, and another virtual full lap under full power out there on the speedway. Honestly, gas was getting a little too close. They had to come down pit side, had to get some fuel into their rides, and now they will line up here deeper in the field and have to wait and see if they can race their way back up towards the front. Some of those drivers that took the early pit stop there came down pit road, going to benefit from that one, but some of them have some serious damage on their rides here. You look back at the 9 ride, Al Likens. Likens got some pretty heavy front end damage. You'll see if we can get a good look at Likens' car. There's Likens' car. Pretty heavy front end damage right there in the middle of it. The 36 of Gage Wenzel still up inside the top 10, but the front end pretty clobbered up here for that 36 ride as well, and a lot of these other cars have some pretty good damage as well, and we'll have to wait and see how that all works out as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, as the Busch Latte, the Busch Beer number 4 ride. Darrell Johnson out in front, leading the way. The Samsung 88, and is Christopher James in position number 2. Restarting in position number 3. See that damage up 63 ride. That's Max Koss. Koss will start in position at number 3 to his outside. The 1 ride of Michael Sheffield. They're in 4th. Al Likens, Jack Simpson, our top 6 with Gage Wenzel, Michael Carter, Ryan Cronister, and Brad Fulham now rounding out our top 10. So Fulham able to get a lucky dog and back onto the lead lap for the 21 ride. As down through the Geico restart zone, we go back to Green Flag Racing. Now those damaged up race cars. Is it going to affect their draft? Is it going to affect their drive? Will we see them overheat or run into problems here in these closing laps as we inch closer and closer to seeing that white flag? Is down through corner number 1 and 2. Each and every one of these drivers up and through the gears trying to build up that speed as you see that 9 ride of Al Lycan getting a great run back to the rear bumper of the 4 machine of Daryl Johnson. Here comes a push from the 36 as Gage Wenzel right there ready to pounce. Here comes the 24 of Jack Simpson as well. Simpson right there is there too. 3 wide. Things are getting tight down through 3 and 4 here for the Hypershift season opener. As the Hypershift season opener here at Daytona International Speedway, things are getting wild as down across the line. We will see that white flag fly as they wreck down just past through the tri-oval. No caution flag on the racetrack. We keep it clean and green. We'll race back to the start-finish line as the 4 rider Daryl Johnson out in front has Al Lykins, Gage Wenzel, and Jack Simpson right there behind him. Corey Denk back there in position number 5. Michael Sheffield, Ryan Chronister, Jonathan Cogswell, Drew King, and the 51 of Zach Wilson rounding out our top 10 as down the back straightaway for the final time here this afternoon in our 213 SimWear feature event. The 213 SimWear 250 coming to a close is down the front straightaway, down through the tri-oval, down across the line, picking up our first win of the season. It's the 4 ride of Daryl Johnson. Johnson will pick up the checkered flag here this evening from Daytona International Speedway as Al Lykins will push him down across the line. We didn't really see that Napa Auto Parts machine making a move and getting around him here late in the race as Gage Wenzel will settle in for 3rd. We see Corey Denk. Denk will come home in 4th, and Jack Simpson will round out our top 5 here this evening, but it's the Busch Latte number 4 ride, the Busch Light machine of Daryl Johnson, who will pick up the checkered flag in our season opener here this evening from Daytona International Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for that number 4 machine as we'll take a look back here down across the start-finish line. Coming to the white flag, things got a little bit wild here this evening as everyone trying to race their way into the front of the field, and unfortunately things getting a little bit out of hand here. Watch the 88 ride, the 36, the 24, they make a little contact, they come down the racetrack trying to stay tied together, and then they're 3 wide back here behind them. The 63, the 88, the 28, they all end up getting tied together here as you watch the 18, the 22, and the 19 ride here. Watch that third, or that, yeah, technically the second row of 3 wide down into the tri-oval. The 18 goes down across the nose of the 22, ends up hooking the 63 ride, who gets up into the 28 and the 88. Now they're spinning sideways here. Everyone trying to get through there. They're 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. Some of them down through the grass. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers, a lot of cars get turned around. A bunch of drivers into the outside fence. More of them still tied together here, just trying to race their way back to the checkered flag. And a lot of cats getting tore up right here. You see Tester getting turned around, the 22 going for a bunch of loopy-loops here with the 28. There goes that 54, the 63, all getting turned around here. Everyone just trying to figure out where they can go, where they need to go here, and unfortunately for a lot of them, they end up with some pretty serious damage here. A lot of cats getting tore up there. Shive in there. He gets collected as the podium machine piles in there. There's the 51, the 21 head on into the 63 machine. Man, so many cars tore up down here through the tri-oval. It was just everyone trying to get through there, trying to make it through that carnage. And as they were battling down through quarter 1 and 2, we still got to race back to the start-finish line here. As the 4 ride of Daryl Johnson leading the way here. The 9 of Al Lykins, I'm not sure if they're teammates or not, but he's going to stay right on the back bumper of this 4 ride. The 36 trying to get rocking and rolling to the outside of them, but the front end damage of this 36, I think, just kind of pulled him back right there. Didn't really allow him to get that run that he was looking for. You see the 24 trying to help him out here. Jack Simpson trying to push him up there. Jack finally decides to leave him. He wants to try to race his way up there as well. He opens up the door for the 17 as the 9 just stays glued to the back bumper of that 4 ride and pulls Daryl Johnson into victory lane here at Daytona International Speedway. And Daryl, to be a happy camper here this evening as he picks up the dub and pulls that ride up into the 213SimWear 250 victory lane as we'll get ready to pull Daryl Johnson and the rest of our top three up here into the broadcast booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner as Daryl Johnson picking up the win in our season opener. Hey Daryl, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, brother. What's up?
Not much. Daryl, man, oh man, oh man, take us through this one as a crazy afternoon, a lot of laps, and right there at the end, trying to keep that 4 ride out in front, and somehow or another, you're able to do it. The 9 ride of Al Lycan stakes right to your back bumper and pushes you down across the line in position number 1 to pick up our season opener here from Daytona International Speedway, man. The big one here, normally it's the Daytona 500, but for us, the 213SimWear 250 season opener going to yourself as you're able to get that checker flag. Take us back through those final laps and what's going through your mind here as you're able to pull yourself up into victory lane.
Well, the first, right before the green white checker, I only had like 7 laps of fuel, and I thought, man, if we have a couple green white checkers, I'm not going to make it. I ended up finishing the race with less than 1 lap of fuel. So that's one part of that story. The second part is Al is my teammate, been my teammate for many years, and he's super special guy, great friend of mine, and it wouldn't happen if it wouldn't have been for him. But everybody after the first green white checker, or I guess coming to the first green white checker, all those guys had to pit because they didn't pit the time before that. And they were running out of fuel, so then it just put me out front. And it was like God's gift, the seas parted, and it was out front. It was like, well, all right, and now I got a teammate like 2 cars behind me. This is even better. So, super cool.
Yeah, definitely a very cool finish. Able to come home 1-2 there with your teammate as we saw Al. Once he kind of got around that 63 ride, he was able to find his way to your back bumper, and from that point on, he was stuck with you. He wasn't leaving you. I thought maybe for a little bit, maybe down the back straightaway when we saw, Gage Wenzel and Jack Simpson looking to the outside. They couldn't really get the run as Gage had a ton of front end damage, and it really just binded him down, didn't give him any kind of a run there down the backstretch, and I think that really also helped you guys out a ton as it kind of trapped them back there behind you, and it was just, keeping you two locked together, nose to tail. No one was going to get the run to your outside, and that's exactly how it plays out as you head down out of corner 4 and back down across the start-finish line. You guys able to come home with a great finish here as teammates in our first race of the season.
Heck yeah, man! I'm super excited. First league win in a long time, and first one, with this league. So our whole team's new to this league, and man, excited to be here. Haven't got to listen to your broadcast yet, but I certainly will this week. I'm sure it's great just by listening to your interview here. So I'm sure you do an awesome job.
Thank you. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you like it, man. And, it was a crazy finish, a great end of the afternoon. And for our season opener, man, setting the tone here. The, great racing, a lot of good green flag laps in there. And we also see, a crazy finish here like we normally do at Daytona International Speedway. And for a pair of newcomers to come home 1-2 is an absolutely amazing way to start the season off, and definitely for you guys to set the tone and know that you can kind of show these other drivers that you're here to play and you're here to potentially run and try to race for a championship here in this season.
Oh heck yeah! Al's going to be a car to deal with the whole year. He's fast everywhere. I have some luck at super speedways, and I have some bad luck at super speedways, and I'm a mediocre driver everywhere else. So I'm thankful to get one. But you watch out for that 9. You'll see a lot of him. I promise you. So.
Alrighty, well, we'll keep that in the back of our minds, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of yourself here as well, Daryl, as you're able to park that 4 ride up here in victory lane at Daytona International Speedway, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this afternoon?
Well, you for doing the broadcast as always. You guys really make this worth it. I know all of my team goes back and watch all of these things to try to pick up on some things. So thank you for doing that. Anthony and Adam for putting on the league. It takes a lot to do this, and you can't do it without those guys. My teammates, Dylan, Al, James, my wife, my family, they're always willing to let me come down here and do this a couple nights a week, and man, I just have a ball with it. So other than that, man, Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Daryl, enjoy this one, man. Don't party too hard down there in victory lane, as we'll see you right back out there on the racetrack next Thursday, and hopefully right back up here in the broadcast booth from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Heck yeah, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the win here at Daytona. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for the 4 ride as Daryl Johnson picks up the checkered flag and pulls that number 4 up and into victory lane. Now we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher, that number 9 ride that he was talking about that may be a threat all season long, the Napa Auto Parts machine of Al Likens. Likens coming home in position number 2. We'll pull him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Al, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Got a copy.
Al, man, what a run, what a drive here this afternoon. Take us back through this one. It's obviously a lot of back and forth, a couple good green flag runs where we see, green flag pit stops unfold, everyone just trying to figure out where they can be and where to go, and then late in this race, a couple late race caution flags, and all of a sudden you find your teammate out in front, Daryl Johnson, sitting there on the pole for that final restart. You're able to make a couple quick moves, jump to his back bumper, and then you push him down across the line to a 1-2 finish for the team here to start the season.
Yeah, it's in. We was run between 15 20, trying to save some fuel because we knew he was going to be close. Then the caution came out. Restarted 20th, 2 to go, and somehow got through the last wreck. Then the restart got in behind him. I was not leaving his bumper. We was definitely going to try to finish 1-2 regardless what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we saw you get to his back bumper, I thought, because I wasn't sure, I haven't really learned the teams too much here yet, but, I wasn't sure if you were going to jump up and try to make some moves there, but you stayed glued to him, stayed true to him here throughout that final lap, and you had a couple fast cats back there behind you, but some pretty good damage on the front end of your car, some pretty heavy damage on the front end of that 36, and I think that really set the tone for you guys, going down the back straightaways. We saw Gage and the 24, the 17, trying to get something built up to your outside, but with that damage to the front end of the 36, they could just never get the run to pull, door to door with you or open up that outside group.
Yeah, I seen you had damage. I knew I had damage to the front ends because my only option just stayed glued, and I already told him, I was like, no, a teammate don't leave a teammate. I'm staying with you. I promise you. I'm not going to try and make a move, and that was my commitment at that point.
Absolutely. Well, the commitment pays off as you guys bring it home 1 and 2 to start the season here in the 213SimWear 250 here from Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing. Al, who would you like to thank for such a great run and great start to the season here at Daytona?
I'd like to thank my teammate Daryl and a great win to Daryl and Dylan Picklesheimer and James Hudson for great teammates, and obviously you all for the broadcast and the league for having us, and they do a good job.
Absolutely, brother. Well, great run and a great race. Now, we did talk to Daryl already. He told us that you're pretty fast everywhere and that you're going to be a threat here for a lot of this season, a lot of these races, man. Do you expect more and more trips up here into the broadcast booth and maybe a few checkered flags for yourself here on the season?
I hope I am, but you never know how the season is going to play out. So I'm still learning this car. It's a new beast, and every lap I'm learning something new, so that's the whole point. Hopefully learn something through the season to be better at the end.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to seeing you out there in the next one, Homestead Miami Speedway, and the next on the schedule. And now we hope to see you right back up here in the broadcast booth. But congratulations again on the second place run here from Daytona International Speedway. And congratulations on the 1-2 finish here for the team.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for Al Likens. His Likens coming home in position number 2. A solid run and a solid drive there for the 9 riders. We'll get ready to pull in our third place finisher here as Al Likens also scored as the hard charger here this afternoon. Started all the way back in the 28th position. Able to gain 26 spots and finish there in that second spot on the racetrack. So a big run right there for Al Likens and for Daryl Johnson of 19 spots to finish in the top position here this afternoon. Up 13 spots and finishing in third is Gage Wenzel. As Wenzel coming home in that third spot. Let's pull Gage up here into the broadcast booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Gage, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Gage, man, another strong run, another good race here for you, man. But unfortunately, some pretty good damage a couple times out there on the racetrack as you got bounced around there a couple times through some of those caution flags. And luckily enough, you're able to just stick with it, keep that car out there on the racetrack. But late in this race, looked like that damage definitely affecting the drive there as you were trying to find something down the back straightaway. Your teammate Jack Simpson trying to help push you there. Unfortunately, just could not get the speed that you needed there into corner number 3 and trying to go door to door with that 9 ride or the 4 machine of Daryl Johnson for the race win.
Yeah, the first wreck I got like 5 seconds of damage. Like I don't know what lap it was. It was early though, and my internet was being dumb again. But I had something running in the background. I didn't notice. That was why. But but that was fine. But then the getting turned by Gavin, I didn't like. It looked just like a tough deal at the end of a race, a plate race, and that had 7.5 on that, and I couldn't believe that we were going 170 down the back after the wreck, and I was like, I'm done. I was mad, and somehow the iRacing team fixed it with I got like a minute and a half fixed, and it was fast, and I got up to like I think 7th after that first chaos restart, and the outside didn't go, and the seats parted after the wreck of the start coming to the white. So honestly, I'm extremely happy considering there's 6.5 minutes of damage on the car, and it was a parachute. Jack got a good run too, so all around a great night for the team. Sucks for Jaden though, he had a lot of sucky issues and unfortunate penalties, and he blew his engine somehow.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Jaden. Back-to-back races with some tough breaks there for the 40 ride, but for you and Jack, I mean, you guys were fast all afternoon, seeing both of you guys lead some laps, and unfortunately for yourself getting tied up in a few different incidences, Jack seemed pretty clean and green out there, and both of you guys being able to come home with top 5 finishes, especially yourself after being bounced around, having that front end damage, and still being able to keep on rolling out there on the speedway. It was absolutely amazing to see, but unfortunately, just nothing for Jack to do there down the back stretch. I think the 17 at Corey Denk was just a little too far back behind him to really, maybe leave you high and dry. I don't know if he wanted to or not, but or if that was a thought that maybe came across your guys' minds. Maybe team up with him and see if Jack and the 17 could go after that 9 and 4 for the checkered flag, or if you guys were just happy to get through it and settle in for a top 5 run.
Well, I wanted to win, but Daryl and Al were over here. They were teammates of. I mean, that was loyalty. I wouldn't have done that. I didn't do that last week. But I mean, they got them probably a better finish, because I think if they would have went side by side, me and Jack would have got a big run and probably would have won the race, honestly, even with the damage, because that was the thing. They were just loyal to the other, and I probably should have just waited for my move, but I don't know. I felt like that we had a good run off too, and it was just parachute leading. So, but I mean, I'm really happy with it. Happy with the whole race. I mean, like you said, you got bounced around, but we're gonna end with entering the season with a good finish and a good part in the points to go chase a title. So I'm happy about it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, that's a good thing to hear, is that the 36 able to keep itself alive here this evening and finish it off with a solid top 3 run and parking it up onto the podium. Even if it's in multiple pieces, still ended up on the podium here this afternoon. Gage, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack, and some great rebounding abilities here this afternoon to be able to get that car up here onto the podium?
Yeah, you got to thank all the sponsors, right? Got to thank Tom Stacy Taters, this beautiful paint scheme that they have, 213SimWear, and Premier Setups, all the sponsors on the car. It was a very fast car today. Wish it wasn't destroyed for him, but I got to thank all the teammates. Jack and me worked great together, and Jaden when he didn't have his issues. We were all fast tonight. Some of us had better luck than others, but thank all of them, and thanks for the family, for watching, and everyone who supports me. Thank you for being up here in the booth.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Gage, first race out of the way here on the season. A lot of races left to go. More opportunities for yourself and your teammates to get up here into victory lane as the 36 run coming home here third this afternoon. A great start to the season, and hopefully many more trips up here into the broadcast booth.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Absolutely, you as well. Whew, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our third place finisher, Gage Wenzel, is Wenzel coming home there in position number 3. Sorry about that, Chad. I had to breathe in air wrong. I don't know what the heck that was about, but nonetheless, man, a great run and a great show by each and every one of these drivers. Huge shout out there to Gage coming home in position number 3 here this afternoon, even with a tore-up race car, able to still get it done and get it up there onto the podium. As he said, 6.5 minutes of repairs down pit side. That is a lot of time down pit road. That's a lot of damage done and dealt to that number 36 ride. I was pretty surprised that thing was even still rolling there towards the end of that race, let alone coming home in position number 3. But man, that was a heck of fun. A lot of great racing, a lot of back and forth, and craziness there at the end. I mean, that's Daytona for you, man. There's always that craziness, that those last lap passes, everyone trying to get every inch they can, and when the push comes to shove, unfortunately, that's where the big wrecks happen. And we saw a couple big ones here this afternoon, and a bunch of drivers, unfortunately, getting tied up in a bunch of problems out there on the speedway. And definitely not what they were hoping for, but nonetheless, a great show and a great race for all the fans in the stands. We can't wait to see you guys back in here for race number 2 on the season as we head to Homestead Miami Speedway next week. Should be another amazing show. Should be another amazing race there from Homestead, and more amazing action here at the Hypershift Racing League. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for us here this afternoon. We do apologize again as well for missing the first couple laps of this race. Obviously, we went live earlier on and then ran into internet issues, and then for probably 10-15 minutes there trying to just get my internet back up and going. Luckily enough, it did get back up and going. I was pulling my hair out there for a hot minute or two, kind of freaking out that maybe my internet was out for the night. I didn't know, and luckily enough, it came back on and started to work again, and worked here throughout the rest of this race. So we were definitely happy about that and able to give you guys an amazing race here from Daytona International Speedway. But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch you guys back here in the next one. Peace out for now, baby. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen.
In the digital world he shines bright, full send all day and all night, conquering realms with all his might. Peacemakers here to make it right. Through the controllers battles begun, every click, every move he's won. Streaming wisdom under the sun, victory's anthem just has begun. Peacemaker gaming all day, send it full dose sway. In the virtual lands we play, leading the charge in our own way. Pixels and wires, his domain, glory found in every campaign. Shelter from reality strain. he's never alone. Full send on the audio tone. Peacemaker's name is known. Eyes on screens, dreams he weave. In his world you can't believe. Through the levels never leave. The magic of gaming we perceive.